Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I am doing a wooden keychain inspired by the art of Studio Ghibli's Totoro, My Neighbor Totoro. I think My Neighbor Totoro always had this special place in my heart, so I knew I was gonna do a keychain of this beloved character. So I hope you enjoy this video as I walk you through how I paint Totoro onto this wooden keychain. Starting off, I'm using this Pastilla marker. It's an acrylic marker, water-based, I picked up at my local Daiso. It's very similar to acrylic markers that you will pick up, such as the Posca markers. I picked it up just to try out how it looks. You can see this is the white color that I picked up just to do some of the background colors. I usually use my lighter colors when I'm painting with acrylics first on the top layer, and then layer things on slowly on top with progressively darker colors. So that is kind of what I like to do when I'm painting. Of course, with each layer, to make sure that they don't blend into each other, I try to let the previous layer dry first, and then once that dries, then I apply the next color on. And luckily for acrylics, they dry quite quickly compared to, let's say, oils and watercolor. So because of the fast drying time, it's actually pretty quick for me to finish a piece. But at the same time, because it dries so quickly, you don't really have as much time to kind of blend some of these colors, which I can foresee being a con related to using acrylics. So these Posca markers I recently picked up. They are available in your local art store, Amazon, some stationery stores as well, I would say, but mostly I think I find them in specialized art supply stores. And I am so happy that I got a chance to try it because they were so much fun. I had so much fun in terms of choosing color and deciding what to paint. I at first started venturing into looking at Posca markers because I wanted something that was easy for me to travel with and take with me, let's say to a coffee shop, just because I don't like to bring a container for water, and my brushes just gets really messy. So I wanted to paint or have the ability to do so when I'm out and about and don't have to be always confined to my drawing table. So that's why I picked up these Posca markers. But at the same time, I wanted to paint on some wood. I wanted to paint some original artwork that were large pieces, because large pieces there's always a lot of pressure, so I like to do little pieces. But instead of doing it on a small square footage of acrylic paper or watercolor paper, I want to do it on a keychain on wood, because I thought maybe that would be more functional, and that way people can carry their beloved art or character with them wherever they go. So I picked up these wooden keychains online, and then I picked up these Posca markers because I know that acrylics work on wood, whereas you can't do it with watercolors. So that's why I knew I was going to use acrylic, and because these keychains are so small, it's really hard to get into the nitty gritty detail with a fine brush. Not that you can't do it, I just find that it's a lot of concentration and just a lot of focus. So I thought I'll try the idea of using these acrylic markers that you can get a lot more details and precision without the headache of using a brush all the time. So I think that definitely fulfilled my requirement of being some type of art supply that's easy for me to travel with, as well as getting into these nitty gritty detail. But I must say the con to it is that you do need a fairly good color selection if you want to kind of have this blended look or gradient look for some of your artwork, because it's really hard to mix colors with these markers, because that's not really the original intention for these markers. I have seen a lot of modern art that's really beautiful on Pinterest as well as Instagram with Posca markers, so I was super inspired and want to try them out myself. So these Posca markers, I must say, are quite light. They're in this plastic casing, so it's great for travel. When you are not using them, they recommend having them lie flat so that it keeps the nib moist. So far, I've used it for roughly a week and a half. Haven't had too many big problems with it. Every time I need more paint, I just push the nib inwards and there's more ink that will come out. I believe these pens that I have has a canister of 3 mils or so. I don't know how that fares given that like I'm painting these little pieces but I'm doing so many of them, how long that will last. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to do a video on like long-term use of these markers, how long do they last, the longevity of some of the artwork. So I hope to do a full video on that in the future and give you more insight on this artwork. So before you know it, I already have a Totoro here. What you don't know is that in this video, I actually sped up the video a little bit. So I'm painting a little bit faster than what it is in real life. So here I'm using a brown marker to mark the outline of the character. I usually like to add outline in anything but black because I find that black is just so defined. I love how instead of using black, I like to use brown because it's a little bit more softer, and I think it really lends well with the medium of like the wood. Overall, it just feels a little bit more natural. So I picked up the brown color to do all the outlines for the various keychains that I'm working on. Hopefully you have been enjoying the series I've been doing on wooden keychains with various Studio Ghibli characters. I do plan on branching out and doing other characters in the future, so watch out for those videos. But overall, I find this very therapeutic to do these smaller pieces that are not less high stake. Hopefully you enjoy it too, and it could be an idea for you to do with your friends, family, or maybe even your little ones, and maybe they'll enjoy this as a side art project. I'm almost done here. You can see I'm using mostly yellow, some light oranges and brown. Overall gives me a autumn like vibe and like a fall vibe for Totoro, which is one of my favorite seasons. I think autumn and fall, like cozy sweaters and leaves and like a hot cocoa or hot tea. So I'm pretty happy with this piece. Here is the final look at this fall themed Totoro. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, and hopefully I'll see you in a next art time lapse. Take care and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.